Hello, hello, hello. Hooligan Soccer Podcast coming back at you after what feels like Hooligan. I think it's like a 17-day hiatus since the last Premier League game happened. So
if you want to do math, go ahead. But I'll be content with a long time.
More than 2 weeks, that is for sure, with internationals and FA Cups and all those kind of things. So we are back. It's good to be back, particularly as we go close out the season. As always, myself, Gary Stryker, and the Cooligan as well. Cooligan, is that the Palace, your vintage Palace shirt that you're wearing in honor of your team, or is
Hell
that
to the yeah, Gary?
Well
Hell
done.
to
Good
the
stuff.
yeah.
Good stuff.
Palace will in all of my optimism, I'm going to say that Palace will completely thump Fiorentina today at 12 noon at home at Selhurst Park, thereby making the return leg nothing more than a formality.
Let's fingers crossed, and
by the way,
hopefully
that's
that
like
work.
some pretty heavy optimism for those of you who know Palace, but
and
yes.
also those of you who know you well, like I do, optimism coming from you as well is it's like a streak of a vein of gold. It's rare to come by.
You mean like a bat pissing in the dark?
Something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, you said it.
A stream of gold and otherwise surrounding darkness.
Indeed. Oh,
so
well.
Good.
Okay, so since we've been away, there have been a couple of sort of significant, impactful changes in the Premier League. Well, the Premier League. I think the first one is that because Arsenal got a result in the Champions League against Sporting Lisbon, officially that means now the top 5 in the Premier League finish automatically qualify for the Champions League. So it is now a guaranteed top 5 place, which Arsenal have done either Liverpool, Villa, or Chelsea a big favour. And then, of course, as well, Tottenham have changed their manager once again and brought in Robert De Zerbi, which will be
Roberto De Zerbi.
Forgive me.
Let's do it proper.
Forgive me. Yes. Okay. And obviously Tudor is out, so we will cover that once we get to the games. So let's get into it. Lots to unpack, all inside of 30 minutes. As always, hooligan-soccer.com. Go and check us out. This is where the ramblings, the musings. We also have a World Cup podcast that we started recording for as well. We will be sharing details and links to that as well coming out. So a lot's going on on this side of the world. Okay. First game, West Ham Wolves. This one is 2 teams that impact possibly 4 or 5 different teams depending on the outcome of this game.
Wow. Okay. That went up significantly from our pregame discussion where it was only 3. But okay,
well,
listen. Yeah. My way of introducing this was you've got 2 teams last alphabetically and pretty much dead last performatively as well. But you're correct. The outcome of this Friday game will have ripple effects throughout the remaining, games and possibly into the relegation picture. So it actually, while it seems like, Friday evening game between the 18th and 20th place teams,
it matters.
It sets up to be much watched television if you're interested in the drama of this sport and this league, because you've got to watch this, right?
It's like watching two animals drown possibly, and one of them maybe survives and can sort of use the other to sort of crawl there. But
I don't know about that. That one's that's a little harsh. Probably not terribly inaccurate, but. Yeah, I have to say that if you're using the drowning analogy, I would give the wolf a better ability to get out of a drowning pool than a hammer. So,
yes.
Yeah. And now, does that mean that Wolves are going to win? Is that me using poetic analogy to do that? No, not at all. I will say this though: West Ham had a devastating loss last weekend.
This is in the FA Cup against Forest.
That is correct.
Did they play Forest?
They lost
to
Leeds.
Leeds, sorry.
No,
Leeds,
they went the distance, 120 minutes.
It did
with Leeds, and then lost in pens.
Yeah.
And interestingly, in doing so, had to replace their goalkeeper with a young lad who, prior to that game, had exactly, I think, 3 starts with the 4th division with Boreham Wood. That was the extent of his professional career to that point. He came on with 6 minutes remaining in stoppage time, and to that young man's credit, he saved his first penalty. The first kick against him, he saved.
So that, yes, yeah.
The remaining ones, he had no chance. It wasn't him, right?
Yep.
I mean, by the way, as a goalkeeper, that is the best introduction that you can ever have into the game, because going in minutes before a penalty, kicks from the spot, nobody will ever blame you for anything. You only have upside.
Yeah.
Now, will he start? Will he start this game? I don't know. I haven't seen the injury report, but it is entirely possible that he does, because the original keeper, and bear with me, I'm bringing up the roster right now. Is it Mads Hermansen? I think it was Mads Hermansen.
Yeah, he was a goalkeeper.
No, it was Areola. That's correct. Excuse me.
Areola's their sort of starting goalkeeper.
Out, yeah. Right. Areola was his backup. He's out. So I think they are down. I think they are down to their third string keeper, because they also have Lucas Fabianski. They signed Fabianski after he got cut by Barcelona.
Moving from Barcelona to East London, it's quite a culture shock, eh?
I don't know. I mean, East London's pretty.
It's been gentrified. It's been gentrified, and it's pretty nice now. Yeah,
I was going to say it's always been a cultural melting pot.
It has.
But yeah, I mean, so here's the interesting thing: is that that kid, I can't remember his name. I had it written down on a piece of paper, and I can't find the paper anymore, sadly. But I mean, that poor kid. He's not even on their roster. FotMob doesn't have him on the roster. Nobody has him on the roster. They just bring him up. So who knows what's going to happen? What I'm saying is, this is a West Ham team that is reeling right now. That was a tough loss for them. And they've been doing, reasonably well, up, down, this, that. I mean, they're such a hot and cold team.
Yeah. Well,
but Wolves are not.
Look at the form Wolves are on. All of a sudden, drawn one and won the last 2 out of 3. The last in the league, last 3 games, 1-2, drawn 1. They are undefeated for 3 games, and so if they win and win by 2 goals, and Burnley lose, they could actually, for the first time, not be in 20th place, which all of a sudden makes it
first time whole season.
Right.
I'd say maybe the first week, because everybody sort of sits at the same level, but. They have 8 points. 8 of their 17 points have come in the last 5 games. They have been, and in fact, I have to say the international break probably didn't do them any favors, because that's the type of momentum that you want to keep going. You build on top of that stuff, right? That momentum keeps reinforcing itself. Well, this is the game where they have to come out and enforce their will. They've got to go to London, go into, West Ham Stadium, London Stadium, and they've got to say, we are here and we are going to finish this. We're going to finish our run by ripping the throats out of everybody we come across. That's what Wolves have to do.
Right. Yeah. It's going to have an impactful game. Okay. We've got a lot to get through. I think, this is going to be a very good game, and I will be split screening this with the Masters as well. I know you have absolutely no time or love or affection for the game of golf, but the Masters are on, so it is going to be splitting my attention. That is for sure. Okay. Let's move to Saturday. First game, Arsenal-Bournemouth. Now, I know Arsenal just got through against Sporting Lisbon in the Champions League in sort of like a 93rd minute sort of, winner. Their form would predict, obviously, in the league that they've won the last 4. They did choke against Manchester City in the the FA Cup? Am I getting that right? They choke in the FA Cup, didn't they, against Man City? No, that's not right. That's not right. Liverpool lost to Man City. They got knocked out of the FA Cup by someone. My memory is eluding me. However, I think the real question here is, can Bournemouth, who
they got knocked out by Southampton. How can
there
you
forget? Go. That's it. I'm sorry. There's so many games going on. It's so much.
You were watching too much golf.
I am distracted by many other sports as well.
I just want to take a moment. Let's pause for a second. I'm going to apologize to all of our listeners for the complete and utter lameness of my co-host, who just decided that hitting a little white ball into a hole is far more important than kicking a big black and white ball into a bigger net.
It's all a matter of perspective, isn't it? Bournemouth, on the other hand, look at this form: 5 straight draws. if they could turn over Arsenal here, if they get a draw with Arsenal, the choking question comes up again with Arsenal, right? The
It
choking
does.
question comes up. Okay, so we've got Arsenal, Bournemouth.
And
Anything else
I
to
just
say
want to
here?
make one thing clear. You talk about, I mean, there's a lot of people who are going to be going, "Wow, didn't Arsenal show incredible resolve?" And they and by beating Sporting Lisbon. I'd actually take the opposite tack. I think Arsenal got lucky, like significantly lucky,
Yeah,
to have to have escaped with a win. That's not to say they didn't play well. They played fine, just fine, but Sporting was more dangerous. If you were watching that game, Sporting was the far more dangerous team. They were the ones who were knocking on the door, and Arsenal just took advantage of that moment. Great, you got to
did.
take
Yeah,
advantage of the moments. That's
and
important.
you can say they got the job done, I suppose, is one way
Of
to
course
look
they
at it.
did.
But I agree.
Of
But
course they did.
they
Yes.
do feel like they're running out of steam a little bit, and the tank is coming up on empty, and they're on that
I
reserve tank.
mean, yeah, a loss to Sporting, even a draw to Sporting would have raised questions. So they've put those questions off. Now they got to go into Bournemouth, and they got to,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
they're hosting. So
yeah.
they got to play Bournemouth at home, and really thump them. Yeah, we know title races aren't about dramatic wins; they're just about wins.
Grinding. Yeah, grinding. 1-0.
So
Yeah.
go Arsenal! You can grind it, great. But you're right, Bournemouth do have this habit of drawing, and if they get and if you draw Arsenal, yeah, it's gonna get people are start gonna it's gonna get a little
And
nervy.
yeah, and Man City are hunting with. I know there's a 9-point difference, but they have that game in hand, Man City,
They do.
but
Yeah.
we'll get to Man City in a
But of
second.
course, it's against Crystal Palace, so they'll lose or
Well,
draw.
the Palace should be tired from that Fiorentina game. Should turning over Fiorentina in today, and we'll see what happens there. Right? That's yeah. They okay. We have another question then, which is Burnley against Brighton. Burnley also as well. Brighton.
What
Yeah.
question? What question is there, Gary? Because I'm
How
not
many
sure where you're
how many
going with
goals? Well,
this.
will they concede more than 2 goals and depend if
Oh
rules
my
and then sort
goodness,
of change
that's
that?
where you
Yeah.
went. Okay, you went to
Yeah.
the dark place, but that's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah, it's
Oh,
Burnley
I think
after all.
relegation. Exactly. Yeah. That will be the question there. I just think let's move on in the meantime because there's bigger games and bigger fish to sort of fry here. Liverpool, Fulham. Slot feels like he's under a lot of pressure. They got completely smashed by PSG, and they were lucky for it to only be 2-0 yesterday. But to be fair,
Yes, they
PSG are an incredible outfit, and again, they're coming into their form as they always do late in the season when they need to. So I don't think that was a surprise and shock result. The question, though, is Liverpool's form is flailing. And there
They
is a
are.
possibility they finish outside of the top 5, and that is getting tighter and tighter. So depending on how that result comes out, I think Fulham have been in good form, and Fulham are sitting pretty as well. So I don't think it's going to be it's going to be quite close. Liverpool
Yeah,
have
I
got
mean,
to watch out.
Fulham's got 3 wins, a loss, and a draw. Liverpool 2 wins in their last 3 games, loss, draw, loss in league. Not to mention the loss in the FA Cup. Not to mention the loss in the in Champions League. Not good,
Yeah,
not
no,
pretty.
not pretty.
So yeah, big moment
Salah
for Liverpool. Big
will
moment for
Salah,
Liverpool.
and obviously we were all surprised that Salah didn't even get on the field yesterday, and that's obviously coming after he announced that he's decided to leave. So I wonder if Slot just cut him and moved him on, or was he saving him for this game, knowing that PSG they were going to get turned over. But we'll see if Salah even features because
Well, I mean, there was a lot of. I don't want to get too much into the Liverpool game, but the entire configuration for Liverpool changed. Slot changed the system,
they put 5 at the back. Yeah,
and it didn't work. And so I think that was more. I don't think that was a Salah getting snubbed.
just a
I
system
think
change.
they had Salah. I think that with the system, Salah didn't fit into it. I think that he stuck with the system, and I think that once they went down by 1 or 2 goals, putting Salah in wasn't going to change it or save them.
It was more.
So he said, "You know what? Let's hold it.
Stop the bleeding. Save it for the
Absolutely.
midweek. Yeah.
Let's hold it. Let's." I do think that Salah might get a start. I think that he could get a start here. They're at home. They're going to want to play up the Salah factor as much as possible. So he'll definitely. I think he starts. That's my opinion. But will they be able to take down Fulham? I don't know. Fulham's a tough outfit. They're rough and tumble, and they've got some really outstanding talent. They could take advantage of a weakened and tired Liverpool.
I agree. Okay, let's cut through to some of the other games on Sunday, because I think the last 3 games are probably really where it matters. Sunderland, Spurs. You got Roberto De Zerbi with his first game away.
Yeah.
They've got to travel, obviously, all the way up to the northeast of England, which is a long journey. It's going to be interesting to see what he does here and how he sets them. Well, I mean, for by English standards.
By English standards, sure.
Going to be interesting to see what he does here and how he sets up his team. Does he try and implement new systems and new sort of, processes, or does he just go back to the basics and say, guys, low block, keep it tight, hit them on the counter. A draw is a very good result. A win is an incredible achievement, and it gives us the momentum and go through. That will be a real interesting test on his management style of how he wants to sort of put this in. He's got, as we know, 7 games to go. It's going to be a fascinating game. And Sunderland, who all season have been pretty good and have seemed to have dropped off just a little bit towards the sort of back half of the season, will also still be pushing. Because, I mean, if you look at it, Sunderland are on 43 points. They're only 6 points off of the top 5. So Sunderland realistically are still within reaching distance of getting Champions League football. I know it's unlikely. I know there's a lot of teams above them as well. But if they can, grind out a few more wins as well, they will climb up that sort of very, very tight mid-pack table. And I don't want to sort of be too much Schadenfreude. Spurs are in for trouble here. Spurs are not going to have an easy afternoon here.
Yeah. Listen, playing Sunderland at home is always hard. They, up until I think late December, early January, they had not lost a game at home. They have since it's ceased to be a fortress right now, but it's still a very tough place to play, right? So, yes, Spurs could, they could struggle. The only thing that Spurs have going for them is that their road record is better than their home record.
Yes.
They have half as many losses on the road as they do at home, which is kind of sad. But at the same time, that's the thing that De Zerbi really needs to fix is their home form. I think Sunderland probably takes this one, but I think more to the point around Tottenham, in some ways, the scoreline means less than the effort and the actual performance itself. If they lose by a whirly, if they lose because Sunderland gets a lucky one, or if they do this, I think people would forgive them. The problem is that Tottenham have been apathetic, lethargic, dull. That's intolerable, right?
Yeah.
It's one thing to lose. It's another thing to not even try.
If they go down swinging,
you get the feeling that some of Tottenham's players and overall, they're just not putting in the effort.
Yeah.
That's inexcusable.
Yeah. Well,
that's inexcusable.
I agree
I think
with you.
De Zerbi's the type of coach. Remember, he knows this league, right? He coached Brighton for years and did it well. So he had probably less talent on that team than he does at this Tottenham team, and he's had some time to at least work with them as well. So I expect to see a fiery, energetic, side. Will it be enough? Probably not. But then again, we'll have to wait and see how it goes. Either way, critical game, because if, say, West Ham pulls one off over Wolves, that leapfrogs them. All of a sudden, they're down. They go into this game sitting in the relegation zone. That's a whole different level of psychological baggage that they have to carry around.
I think that's exactly right. There's the psychological side of all of a sudden. There's that weight and that stress, and suddenly they are in that danger zone. They're in that drop zone, and West Ham, as you say, that talking about sort of fight and sort of push in that FA Cup quarter-final, West Ham really did show some grit and be able to sort of turn that.
They came from 2 goals down in stoppage time.
It's time, which
to at least extend it.
Yeah. So that's
it was
what you
a
want
tough
to see.
loss for them emotionally, but it wasn't because they didn't put the effort in.
Yeah.
West Ham usually always puts the effort in.
Yeah.
Nobody doubts their commitment to the game, to their commitment to the fans, to their commitment for the sweat equity in that. No way.
Yeah.
You can make those questions. You can raise those questions about Tottenham, though.
Yeah. It will be interesting. So we could basically come out of this weekend with Spurs being in the relegation zone, and that is when it just becomes a black hole and everything. It just sucks you in, just mentality just gets sucked into that. Okay. Chelsea are hosting Man City.
Yeah, good one. Real good.
Liam Rosenior has won all of his games in which he has played lesser opposition. All of the other games that he's played, which have been considered comparable or better or higher ranked opposition, he's lost every single game. My level of confidence in this game as a Chelsea fan is 0. Chelsea are going to lose this one. They are going to lose this one. And they're going to do Man City a favor here, which is, and look, I could be wrong again, and I have been many, many times in sort of calling these things, but they just don't seem to have sort of challenges. Also, they are missing Enzo Fernandez because they've this self-inflicted sort of suspension that they put on him for speaking out, making eyes with Real Madrid across the bar. I think Pep's sort of looking at this one and saying, okay, we've got Carabao Cup in the bag. We're in the semi-finals of the FA Cup, and we can still chase down the league and get a domestic treble. So they've got everything to play for here. Chelsea are fighting to try and hold on to get into 5th place, and that might be a struggle.
Yeah, for what it's worth, I don't think he got punished for making eyes. I think he got punished because he went on social media and then he like visibly tried to hook up with them. That was the problem, right? Like it's one thing to sort of have a little flirtation with a team. It's another thing to like open up your pants and be like, "Yo, have a look. Yeah, I'm ready to go." No, that's not.
I would love to live in Madrid. It reminds me of Buenos Aires, and I prefer speaking Spanish. Was kind of the context of pretty much what he said, and yeah, it was pretty bad.
Sure. But yeah. I don't have anything really to add because you kind of put it spot on. This is City as a side now only has one thing left really to do, and that's to drive to because they know also, City know, Pep knows, if they manage to win the title, this is the penultimate moment of Pep's reign, and he will step aside. Yeah, if they win the title, Pep's gone. What else can he do? He overcomes a 9-point deficit with 7 games left, right? After having a somewhat blah, season by Man City standards.
Blah,
oh yeah, of course he's going to be like, "Thank you so much. I'm done.
Well,
moving on." By then, Ancelotti will probably, he'll lose the Brazil job. Guardiola can take the Brazil job, and he can go sit on the beach and smoke cigars. It's going to be great.
Oh, yeah. Man City don't seem to have too many injury concerns, as well as a few. I think, don't seem to be sort of too concerned with injuries as well. So
no, actually, they're in surprisingly good shape for this time of the year. City's actually doing pretty well. Yeah.
They're doing pretty well. Yeah, I think this could be a 2-3-0 and sort of City get the business done. Again, depending on how Arsenal do against Bournemouth, will determine. Determine what happens here. Okay, and then in the final game, we've got Leeds against Manchester United. Man U, considering they finished in 17th, 18th last season, sitting in 3rd place quite comfortably, and I don't see them giving up 3rd place too easily here. I don't see them.
No, I think Man U are destined for a top 5 finish.
Comfortably.
The biggest question right now at Man U is the manager saga. Right?
Is it a saga, really? I mean, Carrick's making a very, very strong case for the technical team and saying, guys, you don't need to stop your search now. You found the right guy. I'm the guy for it. He's done the job.
Gary,
he's got them back into it.
You don't think so? Your naivete is just shocking.
Oh, you're going to go the other way.
It's Manchester United. Of course it's a saga. How dare you? I mean, come on, man.
Basically,
we all know that nothing that Manchester United done is dictated by logic.
Yeah.
Okay.
How can they fuck this up?
I mean, come on. Big Jim decides if Carrick just upsets him or does anything to piss him off, he's out. Big Jim doesn't care. They don't care about that stuff. Glazers don't care. They just want their quarterly payout. Nobody. That's the thing. He's got owners that don't care. Big Jim just wants a bigger stadium. Glazers just want their money. The only people who, it's like, and Carrick, ironically enough, is probably one of the only people who seems to genuinely care about the team and the results, which is
Standards, yeah.
probably the worst thing that in his favor is that he actually, he's liked. People like him. Anathema. He's a dead man walking. I mean, I'm being overly dramatic, but yeah, as a team, Manchester United have been great. They've been actually fun to watch, right? They've been playing great soccer. They're fun to watch. I'm still frustrated. There's many of the people on that team that I just, on a personal level have animosity towards. I don't like Bruno Fernandes. I think he's a great player, but I think he's a tool. Casemiro, lots of opinions, but he's going away, so I don't have to worry about it.
Well,
And
his
so
form's been great, yeah.
his form's been great.
World Cup.
So
he's fighting for that World Cup spot. That's what it is.
And yes, they are. And so here's the thing with them. They've also had a very nice rest. Now, a lot of their players played friendlies. So it's not as if the players themselves got a rest, but as a team, they had a chance to go away, do their business for their country. Some people were more successful than others, but then come back, and now they've got to play, and they're going to be playing a Leeds team that is pumped because they won, right? Because they won their FA Cup game, but also had to play 120 minutes of extra soccer, right? So, Leeds for them, this is a damage control game for Leeds. Fark knows, wow, we got to go in. We've got to go in to Trafford, right? Because Manchester United's hosting. Am I right?
Yeah.
So we got to go to Old Trafford. We don't want to screw this one up. Let's just go in, play our style, do our thing. Hope we don't concede a lot. Maybe we get lucky, come out of here with a draw. That'd be great because Leeds is just looking at everything else that's happening. They have the benefit of having seen all the other games before. Maybe all the teams that are sort of breathing down their neck because they're sitting in the, they're not close to the relegation zone, but they're not safe.
They're not safe, right?
So for them, they can look at this and go, oh, geez, everybody that we were worried about lost. Okay, maybe we can afford to take this one a little lighter.
Yeah.
And they might do that. And they might do that.
Yeah.
That's just smart management. And one thing you can say about Fark is he gets this business. He understands it. He knows. So he'll do what's necessary.
He is. Wonderful. Wonderful. Game of the weekend that you're looking forward to seeing the most, or that you will?
Dude, the only one, Palace Newcastle.
Palace Newcastle.
Again, your naivete. You ask these leading questions, and it's like
this. Yeah, I know as a Palace fan, of course, but yeah, there's some. Yeah, I want to see Spurs.
I mean, as a Palace fan, that's the one, of course, that's the one that I'm interested in. And the only subtext that I like about that game is I think Eddie Howe's in a little bit of trouble. I think that he could be replaced this summer.
Newcastle are too loyal to him almost in a way. He does have this yo-yo approach, right? And they're not getting top 5. They're not getting Champions League football next season.
No, they're not.
They are not.
So, the question is, do they stick around? I don't know. I don't think so. I think we could see. I don't think he's in any immediate risk of action prior to the end of the season, but I do think there's going to be a long, hard look. And some deep discussions that are happening after the season, right? We do know that, Glasner's leaving Palace. That's a known factor, big deal, right? Palace right now are only doing one thing. They're playing for the Conference League win. Conference League win keeps them in Europe, upgrades them into Europa. And so that for Palace is that's the game. That's the end game. Because the season is just, and I believe they might not be mathematically safe, but they're pretty damn close. They just need a few more points here or there. Yeah. Snatch a few points here. They've got, and they'll be fine.
You're going to be okay.
I think, this game is, I think this game is going to be somewhat curious. Plus, they play today, and then they play on Sunday.
A lot, yeah. It's a lot of games.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
The team has been doing a lot of this. The Conference League has been very unkind to them in terms of their fixture, tightness. So, yeah, I'm not hoping for a great result against Newcastle, but you never know.
I think Palace's biggest problem is not getting asset stripped. And I think Adam Wharton, for me, has been such a revelation as such a great player for them this season. And if on top of losing,
I think there's a handful of players that could get stripped out of. I think, they could be completely and utterly strip mined, right? Wharton, sure.
Yeah.
I do think Mateta is not happy and he wants to go, but
sure.
Failing a physical kind of puts a black mark on your record. It's not good. So the fact that he was in there and everything and he failed that, people are going to be a little bit wary.
Where was that again to? Where was he about to go to? Who was trying to sign him? He was going to Roma and they failed that.
It was one of the Italian teams. I do not remember whether it was Roma or if it was Inter, but it was one of the big Italian teams. It wasn't, like Siena or anything like that, right? I do. I mean, Again, when you are a fan of a mid-table team, you get asset stripped. It's part of the job.
Part of the roller coaster.
Just kind of the way just kind of the way it is.
Yeah.
It sucks. You never get too attached to a player because, they're likely going to go somewhere else. But Strand Larsen's been good. He's been a good signing. I think Munoz is another one of those guys that people are going to look at and go, we could use somebody like him. You mentioned Wharton. That's a given. And then, and then Mateta. Those three, I think, are the main ones. Maybe Sarr, Ismaila Sarr.
So, well, it depends on how the World Cup goes, right? He'll probably have quite a good World Cup as well.
Again,
put himself in the shop window.
Unleashes in the World Cup. Yeah, all of a sudden the phone starts ringing.
Yeah, cool.
And Dean Henderson, by the way, another one that could go. Because he's been one of their best players the whole season. He has kept them in games time and time and time again. So, could be another one.
Okay. Well, okay. Lots to go through. As always, guys, thank you for tuning in and listening. hooligan-soccer.com. Go check us out. Lots more coming back. More Champions League stuff next week, Hooligan, so we'll be back and we'll go from there.
Yep. Fly high, Eagles. Peace.